Eventually they came to a convergence, where the ocean ended and cliffs of grey and green rose up against a bright blue sky. Perched high above, and overgrown with foliage and flowers, were the white walls and towers of a ruined cathedral. Within the ruins lived the brothers and sisters of the latent spring, a monastic community devoted to Milana, the goddess of nature, who would awaken and breathe life into the dead and dying lands of the Residuum. Their founder and superior was Brother Shochan, and it was he who welcomed the travelers, offering them food and shelter. Curiously, it seemed as though their arrival was not wholly unexpected. As they walked through the ruins, Anku was struck by the familiarity of her surroundings. She knew she had seen them in the place between worlds, but now she had the strange sensation of having visited the cathedral in another life and time, when all things were untouched by the distortion. Incredibly, her thoughts reached back, beyond the revelation of the fog, even beyond her earliest memories of the Residuum, into that unknowable time from which she had awakened in Tajna Dorjum Pima, the deserts of anonymity. And from the darkness of her forgotten past, memories of the cathedral started to surface, vague and unconnected at first, but becoming clearer and more brilliant, and suddenly she was transported, pulled into a vivid, lifelike scene in which she perceived the cathedral as it once was, in all of its splendor and magnificence. The memory faded, and Anku stood within the ruins. But now the air shimmered, and in the soft, wavering light, she saw the outlines of the places she remembered. Fading into view, they solidified, as piece by piece, memory by memory, the cathedral was rebuilt around her. Led by the memories, Anku ran through the cathedral in search of her forgotten past. staircase descended from the transept, and Anku was drawn down into the crypt beneath the cathedral. Below, the air was cold and damp, and ringing with the silence of death. She could see nothing beyond the candlelight, and as she crept through the dark, vaulted passages, fear rose inside her. She was no longer led by her memories, but by an unseen force that watched and waited. Finally, she came to a pentagonal chamber, and it was there that the vision appeared. The darkness was drawn aside, and dazzling light filled the chamber. A figure emerged, glowing and radiant, like the enduring sun Inshi Kisoshli, and Anku was overcome with trepidation and awe as she saw her own image before her. But then darkness seeped from the edges of the vision, entering and consuming the light from within. Soon the figure was completely devoured, and the vision came to an abrupt end. Plunged into darkness, Anku turned and fled, scrambling. As the floor started to move, the walls shifted, and the path was lost. She stumbled and fell, and in that moment she passed beyond the crypt and was falling through time and between worlds. From somewhere distant came the child's voice. It brought her to a place drained of color and life, where all things appeared transparent and ghostly. It was the cathedral, but not as Anku remembered.